All right, so we're checking out a new tiny whip here from TCMMRC. It's called the Kun65. Obviously, very familiar looking here. It kind of looks like a Mobula 6 or a Meteor 65, and there are a number of other 65mm tiny whips out there, of course. And of course, there are plenty of custom builds. This one comes in at a lower price point, of course. This is what TCMMRC is known for. They basically provide lower cost alternatives to popular items, and this is one of the more popular ones I think people have been asking for, at least that's what I've been told. And comes in at $85 for what you see here. Nothing much comes in the box. You do get a spare set of the Jump Van 12-19 31mm propellers. These clear ones, looks like you get actually 2 sets. There's 8 in there, so 3 sets total. Comes with these 0802 motors, 25,000 kV, and these actually look like the Happy Model ones from the top of the motor bell, just painted black. They don't look like the previous gen ones from Happy Model. This is the Mobula 6, of course, 25,000 kV motors with the flat top motor bell. They've actually updated this since this came out, and it looks like this motor, but you can see here that I tried to press the prop down all the way, and it does not go all the way in. It's pretty, you want to get that all the way down to the bell just so that it doesn't bend the prop shaft and crashes. So you might need to maybe shave off a little bit of the prop on the inside with a little Dremel tool or something like that to get that properly seated. I actually didn't bother to do that. This frame here, the main frame, is different. I've been seeing this from anyone else. It's a bit flimsy. I think they shaved some weight off of this frame part here, but then they added it to this canopy. This canopy is kind of heavy. I didn't actually take the whole thing apart to measure the weight of everything, but yeah, that's what it seems like to me based on what I've seen. So 0802 25,000 kV motors. You get your typical flight controller there with the micro USB ports with the plugs, 5 amp BLHeli ESCs, 25 milliwatt of VTX on board. You get a Runcam Atom camera, and it's built into this canopy. Built-in FreeSky SPI receiver. It's in D16 mode out of the box from the factory, and then this antenna here is connected to a micro FL connector on the board because the VTX is built into the all-in-one whip board. It's only 25 milliwatts. Because it is a micro FL connector on there, you probably want to put some glue or something on there to hold it down in case of a bad crash. This canopy is pretty tough. I've crashed it a lot and that hasn't popped off yet. The Runcam Atom camera, I haven't had too much experience with this one. It seems okay. It's not as good as a Nano 2 or some of the other ones that they've come out with, but it is lighter. But the overall weight of this is actually more than a Mobula 6, so let me just show you what these weigh. So this is the Kun65, 21.8 grams. This is the original Mobula 6, coming in at 20 grams. So it's about almost 2 grams heavier. It's 1.8 grams heavier than the Mobula 6 with the same size motor. I'm thinking all that extra weight's in this canopy, which is kind of huge. Now there are a lot of 3D printed alternatives out there, so if you want to swap this out for a smaller, lighter canopy, you can probably do that and get that weight back down to around 20 grams. The plug on this one here, the connector, is the ones with the folded pins, not the solid pin like on the Mobula 6. So the performance on this plug with pretty much any battery is kind of limited in terms of peak performance, like when you go full throttle. I did use this Tattoo 300 milliamp hour LiPo with the PH 2.0 connector in most of my testing. I did also try the Nitro Nectar. Now the price difference here, I think basically if you're going for this model because you're price sensitive and you want to spend less money, you probably want to get this Tattoo battery instead. It comes in at a little over $4 a battery versus the Nitro Nectars are about $7 a battery. And then there's also a R-line version of this Tattoo battery with the longer plug with the lead, and it's a little bit more. It's like around $450 per battery. I haven't tried those yet. if you guys want to see a video on that one, I can pick up some of those. I think they're like $25 or something like that for 5 on Amazon. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good battery. There's obviously a lot of other ones like GMD if you want to go a little bit lower. This one seems to perform fairly decently, at least on this one here. I mean, I can do flippy floppies. I didn't try and do any like matty flips or trippy spins or anything like that. At this weight with this heavier canopy, it's not going to be able to do it because of they're limited by this little the folded pin connector. I just know because when you go full throttle on some of those moves, even if you have the really good battery on it, the voltage sag just prevents you from doing those kinds of that kind of performance or those kind of tricks on something like this. You just need to get the weight down. Anyway, so here's the weight of the whoop along with the battery that I flew with, and they're coming at a little over 30 grams. Alright, so a few things to note about this. Obviously, coming in at a lower price point here, this is about $85 versus the Mobula 6, which is kind of hard to find these days. Coming in a little over $105 or so, depending where you look. The Meteor 65 is coming in around $120, so obviously this is definitely undercutting those guys. So for that lower price point, obviously they are cutting some corners here. They haven't done any tuning on this one. Comes with Betaflight 4.2.9 with basically a default PID tune, just stock Betaflight PIDs, no tuning whatsoever, no filter changes, no slider changes. I just flew it the way it came out of the box. I didn't change anything. I did have to make a modification to get the video transmitter to work correctly. For whatever reason, TCMMRC seems to be allergic to smart audio. For whatever reason, they seem to remove it on purpose on all of their quads. Not sure why. It's fairly easy to put in, but they seem to do that as a practice. And no different on this one here, of course. Smart audio is not enabled, and it can be enabled in this video transmitter, but there's no documentation, so I had to sort of kind of guess and do a little like kind of trial and error. And what I did was I enabled smart audio on UART2, and then you have to save and reboot. And then I used I think it was the Nanohawk from Emacs, the VTX preset. So if you go into the Betaflight, if you get the latest version of the Betaflight configurator, which you'll need, you can go to the presets tab, go to the search box, put in smart audio, and it'll be the second one. Click that, hit pick, and then apply, and then that'll put the smart audio 2.0 VTX table in the flight controller, and it should work. So then you go to the VTX tab, and then you'll have the ability to change your bands and channels, and I was able to do that once I did that. But that was the only change I made. I left the PIDs the same, so the flying in terms of everything you're seeing here is basically stock PIDs. I didn't do any tuning whatsoever. You can probably borrow some PIDs from like a Meteor 65 or a Mobula 6, and that probably will work a little bit better if you want to do like more harder maneuvers versus what I'm doing here. But I wanted to show you what it's like coming out of the box, and I did have to make that modification because I think it comes out of the box on band B channel 1, and that channel is for whatever reason gets a lot of interference in terms of Wi-Fi interference. So I had to change the channel, and because there's no button on here, I had to put the smart audio stuff into the flight controller. So normally I don't make any changes, but in this case I had to, because I wanted to at least get some decent video so I could fly. But other than that, obviously, the lack of setup and proper PID tuning and all that, the parts and kind of, at least in terms of the parts and the hardware, pretty similar to what you would get on a Mobula 6 or a Meteor 65. So if you're looking for something in that, ballpark, 5 amp ESCs, it's basically analog, of course, 25 milliwatt video transmitter. Then if you're looking to really pinch some pennies and get something for a lot less, then check this one out. $85, it's hard to beat. If you guys can find a better deal for basically a bind and fly with FreeSky SPI receiver with video transmitter like this, out of the box, bind and fly, then for like $85, let me know. I would love to let other people know about that. This does come in 3 colors. There's blue color, there's yellow and white, and you can also get them in a combo with basically an RTF kit. So it comes with the whoop, it comes with a goggle and a transmitter, which is basically I think a copy or clone of the Beta FPV light radio, I believe. So you can get one of basically that kind of setup, but you still have to get batteries. So I'll link the batteries down in the video description as well. But that RTF kit I think is around 170-ish. So that's pretty good for an RTF kit. I mean, obviously still have to get batteries, but you know, most of the RTF kits out there are running closer to like 250 to 300. So again, that's a pretty good deal in comparison to some of the other ones out there. Anyway, we'll put a link in the video description if you want to check it out. You can get this at AliExpress, of course. That's where they sell these. I got this in about 3 weeks from time of ordering to the time of delivery. I think it was maybe a little bit less than that. So, and I live in the west coast of the United States. So if you're kind of wondering, it really depends on where you live in the world. But yeah, it came first class mail. I just purchased it using the cheapest shipping method possible. But I saw that and asked some people, and they were like, hey, yeah, definitely check it out for a video. And here it is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.